Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sociology Chapter 1 of Class 11. And all the parts of this chapter would be covered in bits. And each bit, there is separate video for your easy understanding. Because we want you to understand everything in details. Because that's what sociology is all about. It's all about concept building. And you have just started this subject, it is new for you. So it is very important for you to understand the concepts in case if you want to take it up in your graduation. The chapter highlights what is sociology, what is society, sociological imagination, sociology and common sense, making of sociology, why we need to study the growth of sociology, then the scope of sociology and its relationship with the different other subjects. And also, we would look at the sociological paradigms that have resulted following the Industrial Revolution, because Industrial Revolution brought a lot of changes in the society. Earlier, if the society was much laid back, and with the Industrial Revolution, with the discovery of the machines, the entire thing have got revolutionized. The entire process of production got speeded up. So there are so many different aspects of change that we will observe after the Industrial Revolution. So that becomes a very important point of departure in determining the sociological paradigms. So this is the first page of your first chapter, Sociology and Society of Grade 11, CBSE. So we are doing introduction at the moment, and introduction also I have divided in part A and part B. So I'll take you through this introduction in the due course. So please bear with me. So in the part 1, we would first see the example of how society determines the right choice of subject and profession. Like all the other chapters of NCERT, they have started with an example. Generally, NCERT has a tendency to start with an example or a case study. So here they have given an example where you see that there are a lot of advice that comes from the elders, from the parents, where people tend to tell us that study hard so that you will do well in life. Sometimes there are people who say that study this subject has got better prospects. And then, they also make it gender specific. Some say that you are a boy, you should study this. Some say you are a girl, you should study this. I would like to get to your personal experiences. Many of you, when you decide to take up humanities subject in class 11, might have faced a lot of questions from your neighbors, from your parents, because in India, there is a tendency of many parents to drive their children towards science, towards engineering and medical, to be precise. And there is nothing wrong in it. It's just that they feel that these are the subjects where the professional establishment is much better and you can earn well, because every parent at the end of the day wants their children to be well settled in life. So these type of struggle, many of you might have battled before taking up humanities, and I really congratulate you for taking this subject, because it's not easy. Those who have got support from parents, it's fine, but those who haven't, it's not easy to take up this subject and study in class 11 and fighting the adversities that you might have faced. Anyway, so let's get into the topic. Here also we will see that there is an underlying dialectics of personal choice and the demand of the job market and individual social background. These are the three things that actually play a vital role in determining the different choice. For example, the family where you belong to actually have a lot of influence on your mind and on your idea of career. So who decides which is the best career, which is not a good career? So in the after this, we will be watching two videos, one taken from India, another is in USA. So the Indian video, it talks about how the Indian parents, they have a major role to play in determining the right career of their children. You please understand that India is a labor-oriented economy. So there are more people than the jobs available. So therefore, the competence is very important. People really cannot do whatever they feel like. They have to analyze what the market demands and they have to work as per the requirement of the market. Whereas the second video that you will be observing is of Michelle Obama when she was the first lady and Barack Obama was the president of USA. So during that time, she was advising the students about the career. But you will see that there is a stark difference between these two videos. And why the difference? Because she belonged to a first world country where it is capital oriented economy and not labor oriented. So people there have got more freedom of choice to determine which is the right career for them. Okay. I wanted to bring these two notions because being a student of sociology, you need to understand the globalized effect and how different society performs differently, how the cultural constructs shape the different society to act in a different manner. So that's the reason I had got those two videos. I hope you will enjoy. And before we go on to the video, just ask yourself this question: who decides what is a good job? The notion of a good job is actually determined by the cultural construct, by the society. So here we will see that how a society influences an individual. So without further delay, I'll just take you to the next video.
1978 मेरा जन्म 5:15 पे हुआ और 5:16 पर अब्बा ने कहा
मेरा बेटा इंजीनियर बनेगा।
फरहान कुरैशी बीटेक इंजीनियर
एंड माय फेट वाज सील्ड।
बेटा हुआ तो इंजीनियर और बेटी तो डॉक्टर। मिडिल क्लास पेरेंट्स बच्चों के पैदा होते ही उन पर ये एक्सपेक्टेशंस डालना शुरू कर देते हैं। हमारे पॉप कल्चर ने यंग अडल्ट्स पर इसके होने वाले इम्पैक्ट्स पर गौर किया है। 2014 की एक स्टडी के मुताबिक 51% इंडियन पेरेंट्स की सबसे बड़ी प्रायोरिटी है अपने बच्चों का सक्सेसफुल करियर। और चाइना और ब्राजील के बाद एक हम ही हैं जहां पेरेंट्स इस गोल में इतने इन्वॉल्व होते हैं। एक स्टडी ने दिखाया है कि 82% इंडियन पेरेंट्स का अपने बच्चों के करियर पाथ्स को शेप करने में काफी अहम हिस्सा होता है। ये इन्वॉल्वमेंट डायरेक्ट मेंटरिंग का रूप ले सकती है, जहां इंडियन पेरेंट्स हर हफ्ते लगभग 12 आवर्स अपने बच्चों की पढ़ाई में बिताते हैं और दूसरी तरफ यूके में पेरेंट्स इस पर सिर्फ 3.6 आवर्स बिताते हैं। इस वजह से 70 से 75% इंडियन पेरेंट्स एडिशनल ट्यूटरिंग पर भी बहुत खर्चा करते हैं। इस तरह की इंटेंसिव करियर ओरिएंटेड पेरेंटिंग के साथ आता है सक्सेस का कांस्टेंट प्रेशर। ये बच्चों की मेंटल हेल्थ को नुकसान पहुंचाता है, जिससे क्लिनिकल डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी, स्ट्रेस और सेल्फ हार्म तक के नतीजे हो सकते हैं। और बेस्ट केस सिनेरियोज में भी ये प्रेशर बच्चों की ग्रोथ और ऑटोनमस डिसीजन मेकिंग कैपेबिलिटीज पर भी भारी पड़ सकता है। और ये सिर्फ बच्चों के लिए ही बुरा नहीं है। रिसर्च के मुताबिक अपने बच्चों के करियर में इतनी इन्वेस्टमेंट ज्यादातर पेरेंट्स पर एक फाइनेंशियल और साइकोलॉजिकल बर्डन बन जाती है, जिसकी वजह से वो हद से ज्यादा काम करते हैं और कई बार तो कर्जे में भी पड़ जाते हैं। पर अगर ये इतना हार्मफुल है तो अभी भी इंडियन पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों के करियर चॉइसेस को क्यों कंट्रोल करते हैं? इस तरह की पेरेंटिंग अप्रोच एशिया की कई कलेक्टिविस्ट सोसाइटीज में कॉमन है, जहां एक इंडिविजुअल की पर्सनल प्रेफरेंसेस अपनी फैमिली की सेटिस्फैक्शन के बाद आती है। इसी कारण करियर का जो सपना पुरानी जनरेशन अपने टाइम पर पूरा नहीं कर सकी, अगली जनरेशन के लिए सबसे बड़ा गोल बन जाता है। इसी वजह से पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों के लिए ऐसा करियर बनाने में लग जाते हैं जो उनके सोशल स्टेटस को बढ़ावा दे और उनके बच्चों के पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट को नहीं। इंडिया का लेबर सरप्लस क्राइसिस इंडियन पेरेंट्स को और भी एंग्शियस कर देता है, क्योंकि यहाँ लोग ज्यादा हैं और जॉब्स कम। इससे कंपटीशन और इकोनॉमिक इनसिक्योरिटी का स्ट्रेस बना रहता है, जिससे पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों पर अच्छे जॉब्स पाने का प्रेशर डालते हैं। पर बात कुछ ऐसी है, प्रॉब्लम मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज के उस नजरिए में है जिससे वो ये डिसाइड करते हैं कि बच्चे की भलाई किस चीज में है। सक्सेस सिर्फ एक अच्छे जॉब से नहीं होता, और अलग लोगों के लिए सक्सेस का मतलब अलग हो सकता है। आयरॉनिकली, जब पेरेंट्स फुलफिलमेंट को सक्सेस के इस छोटे से आइडिया से जोड़ देते हैं, तो वो अपने बच्चों के असली टैलेंट्स को अनदेखा कर देते हैं, जिससे वो सच में सक्सेस पा सकते थे। तो किसी बच्चे और उनके पेरेंट्स की सेल्फ वर्थ को बस एक करियर से जोड़ने के बजाय क्यों ना हम नए पेरेंट चाइल्ड रिलेशनशिप्स बनाएं जो ऑटोनॉमी और पर्सनल चॉइस से जुड़े हों और जो बच्चों को अपना रास्ता खुद चुनने दें। आज के ओवरथिंकिंग इट वीडियो में बस इतना ही। हमारे साथ ओवरथिंक करते रहने के लिए लाइक, शेयर और द स्वॉर्डल को सब्सक्राइब करना।
1978.
Who are you going to be? And if you'll notice, I'm not asking what are you going to do, but who are you going to be? I'm asking you about how you plan to live your life every day. How are you going to respond when you don't get that job you had your heart set on? For all of you who are going to be teachers, what are you going to do if the students in your class next year just don't respond to your lessons? For all of you going into business, how will you react when your boss gives you a goal that feels way too high? See, these are the moments that define us. Not the day you get the promotion, not the day you win Teacher of the Year, but the times that force you to claw and scratch and fight just to get through the day. The moments when you get knocked down and you're wondering whether it's even worth it to get back up. See, those are the times when you've got to ask yourself, who am I going to be? And I want to be clear, this isn't just some vague platitude about building character. In recent years, we've actually been seeing a growing body of research that shows that skills like resilience and conscientiousness can be just as important to your success as your test scores or even your IQ. For instance, West Point cadets who scored high on things like grit and determination were more likely to complete basic training than those who ranked high on things like class rank, SAT scores, and physical fitness. So what we're seeing is that if you're willing to dig deep, if you're willing to pick yourself up when you fall, if you're willing to work and work until your weaknesses become your strengths, then you'll develop a set of skills that you can mold and apply to any situation you encounter, any job you might have, any crisis you might confront. But you gotta make that choice. And let me just share just a little secret before I end. As someone who has hired and managed hundreds of young people over the course of my career, whether it was during my time as a lawyer, as an administrator, as a university, a nonprofit manager, even now as First Lady, I have never once asked someone I was interviewing to explain a test score or a grade in a class. Never. I have never once made a hire just because someone went to an Ivy League school instead of a state school. Never. What I have looked for is what kind of person you are. Are you a hard worker? Are you reliable? Are you open to other viewpoints? Have you stepped outside of your own self-interest to serve others? Have you found a way to serve our country, whether in uniform or in your community? Again and again, I have seen that those are the qualities that I want on my team, because those are the qualities that move our businesses and schools and our entire country.
That brings us to the part B. So both the videos, if we take a short count, it reflects that how the society in a third world nation and a first world nation behaves and shapes an individual. Okay. So now let us also understand that how it has different meaning to different society. Our concept of a good job doesn't mean the same everywhere. Rather, it means different in different societies. Now, also understand that modern society individuals, they do not belong to only one society because of their education, many children, they move out from their villages to the towns, they get exposure, they make friends, they come to know many different things. So their perception changes. The influence of common sense observation about society plays a vital role because when the person comes out from the safe cocoon of their family and they mingles with people of different cultures, different urban groups, they develop their own set of common sense. I would like to give an example. Once I had observed that there are many students who were interested in fashion designing and they wanted to take up fashion designing as their career. Their family said, first you have to complete either engineering or medical, then you can do whatever you want after you get married. So these are the certain perceptions where people felt that becoming a fashion designer was not that prestigious as compared to a doctor or an engineer. Similarly, I'll also cite another example. There are fashion designers who got jobs uh, in a good shop, I won't say shop, I would say in good brands. They were the representative of their brands. They were working as fashion consultants and their family just stopped them from doing that work because their family felt that it is below the dignity. And their family said that, look, we don't want you to be a salesperson. Just come home and do whatever you want, do business, or you even sit at home, it's fine, but you don't have to be a sales girl. So this basically talks about the notion about certain job roles in our country, and it is prevalent mostly in the southern part of India. I should not make a judgmental call, but this is from my experience, I'm telling you. And second is influence of common sense observation about society. So once a person develops common sense, automatically the thinking, the understanding changes, and the children might face problem with their adult counterparts where they will have the differences of opinion. Now, another thing very pertinent of determining the notion of good job is to revisit the historical ideas because, the society is a continuous process. A society that existed 100 years back is not what we see today. And that society changes every time with the changes that we see in the history. So it is very important to understand the different historical ideas that actually helps in studying the society. The final point which I would like to make before I leave today, it is the understanding of the global context of sociology. We are living in an age of globalization where everything is at the tips of our fingers. Sitting in India, you would come to know what is happening in USA. You would come to know what is happening in Australia. You would come to know about Europe. If you want to visit the places, you don't have to go physically or in person. You can just open the Google map, turn on the 3D image. You will actually get to see the houses, the streets, and everything. So things are changing. People are becoming much more informed. There are also other side effects which are not so good. We are not getting into that because that will deviate from the syllabus, and I don't want to do that. But at the same time, it is very important for us to understand that globalization shapes an individual's mindset to think differently, to develop open-mindedness, to have international mindedness, and so many other aspects that account for it. It can be choice and preferences of a particular type of styling, particular type of clothing, particular type of their hair color or hair design. There are so many things. You take one example as a budding sociologist and try to study. I can assure you it would be so much interesting. So in our next video, we would be discussing about the sociological imagination. It is basically the concept that started and was conceptualized by C. Wright Mills. So without mentioning his concept, we will not be able to cover this. So please come back and stay tuned for our bit 2, which will be totally on sociological imagination, drawing references to C. Wright Mills, an American sociologist. Thank you.